I found some code that caused me physical pain. Turns out the guy who made the mess was me.
Whole new legacy.
I'm living in it. 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 I'm living in it.
I'm living in a legacy land.
You know, Google itself is actually turning 25 years old this year. So we've been through our share of growing pains as well.
So far, you've heard a bunch of exciting announcements here at Next. You might be asking, all right, how do these help me out in legacy land?
And we're going to show you how some of the latest Google Cloud features you might have heard about so far at Next can help you do that too. But we're going to need some help. So we invited some very special people to help us out, some of our Google Cloud champion innovators. Over the next few minutes, 4 of these amazing champion innovators are going to help Richard and me take you on a whirlwind tour of 4 big areas where new features from Google Cloud can help us build our next legacy. But first up, to help us reimagine what building apps looks like in a generative AI world, we have champion innovator and workspace GDE, Alice Keeler.
Automate everything, and if necessary, use code. So I'm interested in Duet AI, but particularly Duet AI in AppSheet. Like, how can I automate with just those tools?
Yeah, so how about incident reporting? So let's say, for example, that I'm a school resource officer, right? Or maybe even the shift supervisor on a factory floor. I might want a consistent way for anybody to report safety incidents or maybe just near misses. So let me see if I can get that into a prompt that Duet AI can use. So I need to capture incident reports. Each incident has type, status, description, a date, and each incident should be assigned to, a team member, right? And then all we have to do is click Create App. But here we go. We've actually got an app. Yay.
What?
We just shipped a web and mobile app, and we mostly use natural language, right, to describe it. So as a developer, this is really getting my wheels turning, right? Like, how much farther can I go before I have to start writing code?
Yeah, good question. Like, ideally, I shouldn't even have to type the incident report.
That is a great use for another cool thing we just shipped, which is unstructured audio capture with Duet AI.
This is a minor security incident that happened yesterday.
So we went from idea to app in some number of seconds. We added these rich user experiences with audio capture and chat. But there's one more big feature, Alice, that you said you wanted to add. There is.
I did.
And that's the ability to actually take a picture of our workstation here and see if the AI can figure out if it's in or out of compliance. So let's say that I built an amazing Vertex AI vision model to help identify pictures of workstations that are out of compliance. Actually, let's not say that. Let's show it. I actually have that app available right now. It's built out in a different Google Cloud project. It's behind an Apigee API, and it looks a little something like this. And now if you pop open this card here, it's going to take a second for Vertex AI to read this picture. And look, we've got this. A man and a woman are posing for a picture in front of a screen that says broadcasting on it. That's not too bad.
I love this because everything from the cloud function backwards can be owned by me, the developer, and my team. But this gives me the option to let some of those business teams put together their own dashboards and reports and so on, and lets me focus on where I can provide unique value.
That's exactly right. So in just a few minutes, what did we do? We shipped a web and mobile application prototype using natural language prompts. We built in audio capture with Duet AI, and we called out to other APIs and machine learning services on Google Cloud.
How do you build a platform where product teams can develop fast? The short answer is a combination of vertical and horizontal ownership. We had to empower each vertical team to deliver a feature without this endless matrix of dependencies. And we had to build extensible but still shared horizontal infrastructure that everybody could use.
So far, we've seen how far Duet AI and AppSheet can get you when you want to add new workflows to existing systems, but let's be real, a lot of the things you might be working on still involve a lot more traditional cloud building blocks. You're slinging containers, you're tweaking release pipelines, and we want to build those platforms as efficiently and reliably as possible. Please welcome Google Cloud Champion Innovator, Lucas Carlson.
I would say the 3 main things that I'm always trying to improve. First, how our applications respond to scaling events. How do we better handle surges in traffic?
Sure.
Second, we want to make sure the infrastructure is easy to maintain for our platform engineering teams, so they can spend more time doing things that add value rather than just keeping the lights on. And finally, we always want to make sure that we can build experiences that are more personalized for our customers. There's actually another really cool feature that came out, a preview recently, that you might want to experiment with. It's called CPU Boost.
All right.
CPU Boost allocates more CPU at startup time specifically to reduce your cold start.
The initial experiment proved that people like the app. We'd fixed some of the scaling, but now we want to push it to more places, from just one region to maybe multiple. This is where Cloud Deploy can come in. It's one of my favorite services.
Cloud Deploy also recently added the ability to deploy to multiple targets in the single stage. So for example, imagine deploying to 3 different regions at the same time. That's super useful.
But what about some functional improvements? We got the easy stuff, but now let's actually kind of fix some of the app. We've noticed that it's a retail app, right? So we have some abandoned carts, a little more than usual, and we want to poke those customers.
That's a good idea.
I don't know, let's see if Duet AI and Cloud Workstations can help us write some code.
You have a comment. Just from that, we can generate all the code we need to talk to Postgres database, to loop through the rows, and then to email each customer that has an abandoned cart.
So let's take a step back. Think about what we just did here. In just a few minutes, we made our application more performant with CPU Boost and instance configuration. We use parallel deploys to actually serve this in more regions, different users. And then we're running fully managed Cloud Run jobs without writing a whole ton of code that we have to maintain.
Turns out there was a 0-day vulnerability in a little open source Java library called Log4j.
Let me, without further ado, introduce you to our next champion innovator, Mark Johnson. Mark, come on up here.
So we got to talk about security.
Got to talk about security. So I like to think about S3C in 3 pieces. Number 1, how are we securing our developer environment? Yep. Number 2, how are we ensuring the integrity of the build process itself? And then finally, how do we protect that app once it's running in production? So let's begin where all good things begin, in Cloud Workstations. So let me just kick off the build of this app here, and it's running. And while that's running, let's take a look at a previous run, actually, that succeeded. So I've got Cloud Build up here, and you can see I've got a couple successful runs. And when we take a look at this, notice we've got a bunch of steps, let me pull this out so you can see it a little bit better, that are leading us down to something called binary authorization. So if I jump over to binary authorization here in the console, you'll see that not only do I have the policy itself, but next to it I have something called attesters. You say, what are attesters? Let me scroll out so you can see those a little better. Attesters, I like to think of those kind of like cryptographic Pokemon, all right? And I'm going to collect those along the way in order to earn that binary auth checkmark at the end of my build process.
And for those of you out there trying to be systematic about how you put together a software supply chain security flow like this, I do recommend you check out the Salsa levels at salsa.dev. They can help you identify how mature your security checks are and what you may be missing.
I know it's a lot of metadata on each step, but you do have your Salsa build level for you here.
And it's also important to call out here that all these insights are also available in the new GKE Enterprise now.
You should see something super cool, which is our attack path simulation. It picked up a number of things for us. We've got a secure service account key that's available from the public internet. I like these little red exclamation points here because it actually points to if we have other related vulnerabilities. There's kind of this fractally integrated set of problems in our account. We can kind of explore that in any direction. It's like choose your own adventure. And it's all mapped out for us here in this nice little attack path simulation. And it brings us all the way down to our demo bucket, which is where we have our build log stored. So all that build metadata we were creating before is actually potentially exposed right now, and this is a good note that we need to fix it.
I'll be honest, I feel like my mind just melted a little bit here. One of my long-standing, forward-wishing looking just goals for cloud overall, just say, hey AI, just tell me which of these containers have vulnerabilities, which policies are over-permissioned, and just give me the steps to remediate them. Don't make me guess, don't make me put together a bunch of tools, and it really feels like we're starting to get there.
My name is Sudev Bahra, and I'm an engineering manager on the Google Workspace team. And this spring, my team wrapped up one of the biggest data migrations in the history of the planet. And this is where we ran into the Spanacles. Spanacles is a cute name we gave our edge cases. Basically, these barnacles hanging onto the side of our spanner migration.
And now we're ready to see how the world of data is changing. I'm excited about this one. To help us with that, I'd like to invite one of my friends on stage, a legendary Google Cloud Champion innovator, Miles Ward.
We figured there are 3 big opportunities that are present. First, we have to simplify data operations, and that's got to include security. We've got to put all that data to work, be able to use it using the power of AI. And we want our cake and to eat it too. We want our choice of the best open source tools and managed services, so we don't have to do so much work.
So I did spin up, we jumped to the screen, a typical data infrastructure using the analytics lakehouse jumpstart solution. So to start off with, first, we actually populate a bunch of those more audio files in a cloud storage bucket. So to work with them, I've gone ahead and created a new object table in Big Lake.
I'm such a huge fan of how this Big Lake model, it simplifies the security operations of working with data like this.
So I've got a BigQuery function here that goes ahead, you can see next, speech to text function. This is actually transcribing the data from the audio file and putting it in BigQuery. So let's go ahead and invoke that. So I want to run this function. So it's going to go through everything in that object table, listen to the audio, and then transcribe it for us. It's a bunch of audio transcription. So using this model, look, we got all of the audio from those files now right there.
Okay, so let's see if you can get it to find like a specific type of safety incident, like maybe all the reports that say injury or something.
Right, because I'm terrible at writing SQL. So when I can just give it a comment and have it give me a query statement, that's making everybody better. Let's see if we can transform this data into something more useful. I want to get out one of the BigQuery Studio notebooks for this workload.
I get, and I hope you are too, so excited about this combination of open source and managed tooling. Like, yep, give me Spark as the execution engine if that's what I want, alongside BigQuery as the data repository, or if I want to fine tune an LLM and PyTorch, cloud TPUs now support that. I mean, I could bring in data from Apache Iceberg now if I want to.
Here's where it gets fun. Look, under the hood, BigQuery Studio notebooks are built on top of Colab Enterprise. This is the cloud-ready version of Google Colab notebooks that many of you have known and loved for years. Let's actually invoke the Palm API so we can summarize maybe that lengthy summary there and get back a nice little description that we can figure out which factories are a hot mess. Oh, there we go. I think you showed me the little magic wand button. If we come back, we see there's a summary. I'm getting a single sentence summary of what might be a really long transcription. Right. And I'm doing all this in a data frame. Again, I'm not leaving my tool set.
So everybody take a minute to appreciate what just happened. We pulled in that Vertex integration, no containers or extra sidecars. We didn't stand up some giant model or run it on a bespoke massive instance in order to get it close to our data. It's just right there. It's waiting in the platform for us. It's an API a call away.
When I started as a search engine mechanic at this little startup called Google, it was natural to try and build it on top of PCs because their price performance was still unbeatable. And so when it came to copying a new web index, a new search index from one place to another, it was really hard to beat the bandwidth of a Honda full of hard drives.
What's in the legacy? Today we've seen that the way we prototype our apps, the way we modernize our platform, secure our workloads, even the assumptions we have about our data, they're not choices that we have to be trapped in the past. We can challenge our assumptions even while we celebrate what came before.